Hey guys, how's it going? Just up here doing some fencing and a few other bits and bobs, so I thought, I've been saying it for a while, so I'm going to do a bit of a walk around on the two international trucks I've got. I don't know if anyone's really going to be overly interested, but yeah, we'll see. If you like this sort of stuff, let me know, because there's going to be a lot of stuff to do with these. But this one, we'll see. Oh, never mind. You'll get where I'm coming from. Alright, so yeah, I have two, they're 1990 model International Acco 1850Ds. So, made by International Harvester in Australia, I think in Dandenong in Victoria, I think. Don't quote me on that. The 1850 was one of the sort of smaller variants. I think the 16-ton truck in metric. Yeah, powered by a 6-litre Perkins phaser engine. There was a couple of other bigger variants. They had a 2250D. I think there was a 2350D as well. These are sort of the smaller ones. I think there is one smaller one. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, I think there was a 14-ton variant or something, I think. But this, well, I bought the yellow one first. This was purchased to be a toy hauler, but tractor hauler, I suppose you really want to say. It's just it's going to be a tray truck. Nothing overly fancy. As you can see, there's the tray. It's also a bull bar for it. Yeah, I purchased this one first. It's mechanically a really good truck. Looked quite alright when I bought it, but after having it for a while, you can see there's not really rust there, but there's a zinc coating on these cabs, and the zinc coating is failing. So that's actually a proper bit of cancer in there. But you can see, yeah, all over. I don't know how well it shows up on the camera, but you can see it's all speckly under the paint, and then it just progresses until the point the paint starts to fall off. So it's been in a fairly harsh environment at some point in its life. And yeah, the guards are not good. They're replaceable though, that's not a big drama. But yeah, she was just a little bit sad. So I was gonna fix it, but yeah, just the white one turned up. So we'll finish this one, then I'll get on to the white one. Yeah, it had pretty good rubber on it. Motor and gearbox were good. This is spec'd as 180 horsepower, so it's turbo intercooled. It's got 10-speed Road Ranger, which was the main reason I bought it. Yeah, so that's probably really what else can I say about it? The other issue is it's starting to rust between the laminates in the chassis. Not bad by any means, but it's a big job to fix it. So that didn't really condemn the truck, but it looked like it was going to be a bit of work to get this back on the road, because they're pretty touchy about that sort of stuff here. Because where we are, we don't have big rust issues. So yeah, that's not a good thing. Yeah, so that's the yellow girl. Give you a bit of a look at the motor there. Yeah, she's a 6-litre, 6-cylinder Perkins phaser, or a Perkins 1006T, I think they call it, with a 10-speed Road Ranger. I'm just making a better shifter setup for it. This truck's not a factory 10-speed Road Ranger, it's supposed to have 5-speed synchro, which was a Spicer gearbox, same as what's in the other one. But yeah, someone put a 10-speed in it, which everyone seems to say it'll make a far better truck out of it, so that's probably going to get grafted into the white truck. Maybe not straight away, but at some point. You can see this guard has already been removed to make way for replacement. The cab's not shocking underneath, but it's not amazing either. We'll go around inside. They're a cool old truck for what they are. You don't see them much anymore around here. Sorry about that wind noise, it's probably quite bad. Yeah, being that they're just sitting here, it's like most things that just sit, they sort of catch stuff. So this has been sort of used as storage. Yeah, they're funny, they're sort of like an extra cab. They're not a sleeper, so I don't really know why they sort of had the extra, near like half a bunk type of thing. That's just how they sort of did it. But the actual radiator, sort of about here, you sit on the radiator really. So the motor is behind you, that's why you have pretty much a nearly flat floor compared to like the American style trucks with the dog house, I suppose you'd sort of call it, or they call it. But yeah, these Accos don't. Some of the bigger ones are these, like they had one called a T-line. Same design, they widened the cab a little bit and they made them more like the Americans. They have a wraparound dash, and yeah, they have like a doghouse sort of floor in them. Essentially the same cab, but they're 50mm, 60mm wider or something. But anyway, that's enough, because this one's just a parts truck now, which is a bit sad. So I did pay a bit of money for that one, but then we got truck number 2. This doesn't look nowhere near as nice, but it's actually rust free. There's no rust in it at all. The paint's not the greatest. Like come out here, so the paint's peeling off here, but no rust because of the zinc coating underneath. But the zinc coating on this one is perfect. So this one has been in Tasmania its whole life, as far as I know. The yellow one was in Victoria, I think. So yellow one was a skip bin truck. White one was a we call a cherry picker. I suppose the Americans call it a tower truck or elevated work platform, whatever you want to call it, from a local company. And yeah, when I bought it, it still had the big tower on the back of it. The previous owner removed that. He wanted the hydraulics out of it for a project or something. Now this still does have the original 5-speed synchro. Quite a little gearbox really. I don't think they're overly strong. I think from memory I've seen a fair few with blown up gearboxes in them. So yeah. The actual wheelbase is different on the two trucks. It's supposed to be a 5-metre wheelbase, both of them, but the yellow one was shortened for the, I suppose for what they're doing with it with skip bins. So that was another bonus with this one. There's no rust between the laminates and the chassis at all. Still has some overhang on the back, but the other truck, you see there, it's all been removed. So this one is, yeah, for what I want to do, this one suits me better. So between the two of them, I should be able to make something, you know, reasonable. This one is only 160 horsepower. This is turbo, but it's not intercooled. She's yeah, the baby, I suppose you'd say. Same motor though, as far as I can tell. I haven't really delved too far into it, but looking at parts or diagrams and everything, it seems to be one size fits all motor, and they just jam whatever bits they want on the outside to make whatever power they want. Yeah. So this one hasn't caught as many parts inside. Try and get out of that wind a bit, because I'm assuming that's coming through the camera pretty bad. Alright. Yeah, she needs a good clean in here. But yeah, 5-speed synchro, 2-speed rear axle. Both trucks still have the 2-speed rear axle, but the yellow one, the rear axle is locked in high, I think. The button doesn't do anything, which is fine. For the 10-speed Road Ranger, you don't need the 2-speed axle. Full air brakes, tugging brake, which is nice. I didn't want air over hydraulics or anything like that. I wanted full air. That was my thing when I bought a truck. I wanted full air and a Road Ranger and turbo diesel. That was the, you know, that was my buying parameters. So the yellow one came up and I jumped on that. Probably really shouldn't have bought it. It was a bit dearish. Probably needed a bit more work than I was really interested in doing, but it worked out really good. Put a wanted ad up for parts, and then the bloke offered me this. I was like, oh, well, I only really want a few bits off it, but the price was that cheap. I said, yeah, alright, I'll take the whole thing. And sitting them side by side, it's sort of like, well, it'd be silly to wreck this and put bits on the other truck that's going to need painting, and the chassis pulling apart and sandblasting. It just, yeah, it just seemed a bit silly. So yeah, we're keeping this one. Yeah, I don't know if the, sitting around the outside there, it says it's got 149, well, pretty much 150,000 Ks on it, which isn't a lot for a truck. I don't know if that's a genuine or not, but it was a tower truck, so all it would have done is driven around town and, yeah, stopped on jobs and picked people up in there. That's all it would have done, so that might be it. I'm pretty sure it has had a motor in it. The motor has been done, which would make sense, because the thing probably did more hours running at like fast idle than it did driving down the road. That's a gear pattern if anyone is into that sort of stuff. But yeah, the motor runs like a top. It's absolutely such a sweet little engine. So I'm in two minds whether or not to pull the 180 horsepower one out of the other truck and bolt in this or not, because it seems like a lot of work for not much. But the yellow truck has had the head done, the ejectors done, all this stuff was done to that motor. So sort of, yeah, I don't know, I'm on the fence about that. But yeah, it's just one of those things. I just sort of need it going at the moment, but I've got other commitments financially, so it sort of sits here. Because that tray that's on the yellow one will go on this, but it needs 4 meters, I think, added into it to make it long enough. So that's going to be, you know, a fair bit of costs there and all that sort of jargon. So yeah, she just sits here for the moment. Yeah, up in here so you can see her. Needs a good clean up, but that's coolant access to the, I suppose, header tank. Yeah, it's got this weird little shelfy thing. I don't know, just the way they did them. Seems a bit strange, but I don't know, that's just what they did. You can get these trucks, not so much this model, but some of the bigger ones, you could get an actual, I suppose you call it sleeper cab, which was the same as this, just a bit deeper, and they took out the side windows. And you could also get in these, some early models had a seat that folded forward, and they had like a panel, I think it sat down here, and it would flip out, and they had a little mattress and stuff, so you could sleep in it. But that was only in the early models, because this is a 90 or 91, I think. 90, I think. Yeah, they started in 70 something, I think. the actual Accos. They haven't really changed a great deal. The first model Acco was a lot different, and then they changed this sort of platform after the first ones, and then this platform ran pretty much nearly to 2000. This is a D, because they went A, B, C, D. The first ones were called a butter box. And yeah, then they went A model, B, C, D, E, which is one after this. And then they changed the cab a little bit, like the window line there. It sort of tipped up at the back. The rear window wasn't, it was a different shape. That was the G's. And they went into, well into the 2000s. Very similar platform. Didn't really change them that much, but they were the last of the actual International Harvester Accos. Then they were bought out by Iveco, and then they became an Iveco Acco. So yeah, that's sort of a bit of the history of them. I think they still carry the Iveco Acco now. I think they do. I think they still call them Accos. I don't know if they're still, I'm assuming they're still made here. But that, yeah, back in the 90s, these were every garbage truck, box truck, tip truck. Like there was thousands of these things everywhere. It's just the truck that everyone used. They were just a cheap, fairly basic run round town. They weren't really a long haul truck, these things. The bigger ones sort of were. Like this is, yeah, 160, the other one's 180 horsepower. The bigger ones, I think in these earlier sort of 80s and 90s, I think you got up to about 300 horsepower. And that was sort of about it, I think. I know in the earlier, you know, 70s and 80s, that was it, 300 horsepower, which was the VT 903. Cummins was in them. Most of the larger Accos were all V engines of some description. Like they had Detroits and stuff in them. I have seen V8 Detroits in them. I don't know if they were factory fitted, but yeah, that seemed to be the options. You had VT 190s, 555s, some straight six Cummins of different variants. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. But yeah, all these 1850s, they were all, yeah, Perkins powered. Yeah. I don't really know much more to say about the whole thing. She's just a cute old truck, really. She'll be, yeah, a good truck just to run around with tractors on and stuff like that, go to shows and bibs and bobs and drag bloody stuff home. I always find that weird. The indicators work all the time. Strange. Most things seem to work in it. That controller's obviously for all the beacons and stuff they had on it. It doesn't go to anything anymore. I just leave it on there because it looks cool. The beacons on the roof are operated by a switch there. I don't know why they were separate to that. So I'm probably going to run them up into that so it actually does something. I don't know, I just like it, just looks cool. Piece of old history. Australian Warning Systems, Pty Ltd. I tried googling them, couldn't really find anything on them. There's some, I think there are lights in the top which tell you what's on and what's not. So I think the idea of it, it's a power distribution type thing, so you can turn on whatever beacons you wanted. So something like that. I don't know. Never really worked it all out. The wiring goes out down under the cab and stops down there, so one day I might make it work. Yeah, there's a few little issues with this thing at the moment. The springs are all pretty sagged in it, so the yellow ones will get grafted into this. It's got a leaking injector. The fuel pump doesn't work properly. Like they have a lift pump, like an old mechanical, as the old Perkins do, hiding down in under there. Yeah, they're just a bit of an interesting idea. I don't think they really need it, but yeah, this one's You know, got the cheapy rattle pump grafted on there, so might fire it up for a bit and give it a bit of a run. Yeah, if you want to get it run, we'll do that. I'll just get this fuel pump hooked up and I'll bring you back. Alright, that's rattling away there, as they do. Yeah. Another fact, the D series was the first to have a suspension seat. So D started in 86, 85 and went to like 91. I think these are right at the end of the D run. And then they went to E's, which was pretty much the same truck, but they had grey dashes in them. The instruments changed a bit. They pretty much was interior modifications. So alright, we'll see if this thing starts. I don't know if it will. Now I've got to press the over fuel button, give it a little bit of throttle. And we're away. And even idles by itself. This hasn't been driven for, actually, we moved it the other day, like backwards and forwards, but since that, it hasn't driven in about a year. And it just starts and just does what it should. It's a nice little darling. Yeah, I quite like it. It's got like a, it's not glow plugs. They're like they call them like a flamethrower. It's a thing in the intake that burns diesel to help it start. But on this one, someone's piggybacked a wire from that over to the injection pump because it's got a shut off. If it runs out of oil pressure, it shuts the motor down. So they've got a bypass on it, so you hit that until it makes oil pressure and then you let it go and it starts fine. Otherwise you have to crank it until it makes oil pressure. So I don't know if someone's hooked that up at some point. It's got an oil pressure gauge which is not factory, that's not supposed to be there. So I don't know if that might have been the demise of the first engine, was an oil pressure issue. Yeah, we're building air now. That buzzer will turn off in a sec. There we go. That's better. You might be able to hear me now. So yeah, I don't know if that's, you know, how they are or how it worked, I don't know. I know the yellow truck, that has had all that system on it, but it's all been removed. So yeah, I'm not quite sure how it's all supposed to work. I might just end up where the sender is for the oil pressure bypass, that's what you call it. I might just bridge the wires on there so I'll just start straight away and not worry about it. I don't know. Haven't decided yet. Yeah, everything, even the radio works in it. I like it, it sounds quite nice. It's got no exhaust on it at all. It fell off on the way home, so it whistles quite well. I did notice the other day I think the alternator's packed in because the charge light's just on all the time and it does not charge the batteries. So that's a bit of a bummer. But yeah, no, she's all good. I'll actually let my park brake off. It won't move, it's been sitting here for months. But at least that'll let the shoes come on and off the drum so they don't seize on there. I think the yellow one, she's going to be seized on there. It's been there for the full year, same as this, and it hasn't moved at all. But this has. But yeah, I'm really itching to get this on the road, but house stuff, shed stuff, You know, there's 10 things in front of it. It's not a necessity. But it just would be nice, you know. Oh yeah, I've got to go pick some stuff up, like the shed kit, because it'll be a steel shed. Not like you Americans who build these timber things. It should be full steel, mounted on concrete. That's how we do it here. But yeah, you got a fee to get dropped off. Well, you got your own truck with a 6-metre tray on it, you just go pick it up. I don't know what the delivery fee is, but yeah, it'd be nice just to be able to go pick it up myself. I love that whistle, it sounds so good. They sound alright for what they are. You big rig drivers are probably laughing because it's only a baby 160 horsepower thing. But that's all you need. Like, you didn't need much. It's only a little truck. It's not designed to do 100 kilometres per hour down the road. But it'll suit me fine. Like, it'll be a very economical thing. Yeah, air a little bit. Yeah, it'll suit me down to the ground, just what I want to do. I'm only pulling around, you know, at the most 4-ton tractors. Like, it's not big stuff. So we showed a few bumps and bruises. That was a pretty nasty one there, and there's a little bit of a crease there. It does, yeah, the cab is a bit knocked around. All the windows need really bad cleaning, they're all cloudy and whatnot, so there's a bit of work to be done in it, but the bones of it are quite good. Yeah, it's about it. I don't know. Can't really think of much more to say about it. Might pop the cab and let you have a good look at the motor if you want. Actually, I don't know why I'm asking because it's not like you're going to reply. It's alright. I'll stop this and I'll pop the cab and let you have a look. Alright. Cab's up. That's her. She's got a little baby. Got the pin there we pull out from inside, and yeah, there's no hydraulics. You physically push that cab over by yourself. There's some helper springs. That's it. That's all you get. Sorry about that wind. It's getting pretty nasty. Very basic, very rudimentary run of the mill. Nothing overly exciting, but did what we had to do. Yeah, obviously a few things had pits on it that need to be cleaned up and sorted, but I don't know, it's not that bad or what. Oh, no. Cab's not going to let me open the door. Shut this thing down and I'll bring it back. Oh, alright, that's rackets off. So yeah, this essentially, for you Americans, is the Australian equivalent of a 6BT. They're nearly the same capacity. These are slightly bigger capacity and they're slightly squatter, I think, than a 6BT. But essentially, yeah, they're the same thing. Just what we have here. We don't really get much in the way of the 6BT Cummins. We've got heaps of other like N14s and blah blah blah, all these other ones, but don't get the classic 6BT. I think there was in a few harvesters and stuff like that, but there was plenty of these. So as I was saying, that's your what they call, I think, like a flamethrower, like a preheater type plug. That's that. So it literally just ignites a bit of fuel in the intake just to help get it warm. But you don't actually need it here. Like the other one doesn't run, like it's got that on there, but it's not hooked up. Doesn't matter, starts fine. Gear shifter tower just mounts all on the radiator. Just very basic, really basic rudimentary truck. And as you can see, there's what's left of the exhaust. She dropped off on the way home when we were driving it back. Yeah, a couple of things need doing to it to clean it up. Like there's an exhaust stud broken off down in there. Number 6 injector leaks a bit. What else? There's a couple of coolant leaks I've got to fix too. You can see where number 6 has been gooing out down there. I think I've resealed a couple of coolant plates. The one on the back of the head, and I think the oil cooler plate there I think leaks a little bit too. Yeah, you can see that's your oil pressure port, like that's the light switch, and that's for that gauge. Then you got another one over here, I don't know if that's coming out or not. That shuts the pump down if it has no oil pressure. So I'm not really quite sure it's a factory thing, but then you got this light cable here that bypasses it to get it running. Otherwise you have to crank the shit out of it for ages to get it going. So I don't really know. I've got to look into how that's all supposed to be set up. But yeah, when I got it, the fella said, oh, it runs like a top, but you have to crank it a fair bit before it actually goes. I was like, okay. But I found out if you use the preheater button, it bypasses that system and allows it to fire up straight away. And you should let the button go when the oil pressure gauge comes up. So I don't know, I think someone's rigged that up, maybe because they had an oil pressure issue and the motor gave out at some point. Where is it? There. It's got a Rico seal on it, so I would say it's been reconditioned. And the truck isn't rusty, like it's a very not rusty truck, but yet the block is quite, like there's no oil residue or nothing on it, which has allowed it to go rusty. So I'd say it's all been dipped and cleaned, and they just didn't really paint it again. But yeah, that's about it. That's the old Acco. So she's going to be the tractor mover soon, hopefully. If you want to see any more videos on this, like there'll be a bit, but I don't know when. But yeah, comment if you like seeing stuff on this thing. I'll shoot some videos on it. Like there's a few things we've got to do to that one too, like pull bits off, and I've actually got another turbo to go on it because it smokes a little bit, that one. So yeah, I still might put that on there because it's there. Yeah, not much is probably going to happen this summer to them. I've got to get the tray off this because it's not staying on this one. So yeah, I've got some drums up there. I'll get that off. Yeah, start switching springs over. I'm going to do stuff that doesn't really cost me money because I don't have money to spend on these at the moment. But yeah, there's a few things, and once the springs are done, the exhaust is coming off that one, going on this one. Wheels and tyres, because the yellow one's tubeless. 22R, what are they, 22R? 11R, 225. The standard, you know, prime mover type. Where this white one's got 10 00s still on it. There's a few things I have to do, like these air tanks. They can get moved back. They're supposed to be up here, but they had a big hydraulic ram in here that picked the truck up for the tower, so they pushed the tanks back so they can go back forward again. All little stuff like that doesn't really cost me a lot of money. There's an aluminium tank, nice pretty tank to go on it. instead of the steel one. Oh, pardon me. There's a few things I can do that, you know, aren't going to really blow the budget for me. Like that tray, that's going to be a couple of grand to get that done. I suppose I can put a few dollars into it here and there. It just depends. Money's not overly abundant these days with the way the world's going, so playing with these things isn't a high priority. And I've got, you know, one tractor motor to rebuild and possibly another one, and that seems to be what most of the channel's about. So yeah, as you can see here, the steel there I started buying for the tray and stuff. So yeah, I'll probably do a few videos when I do stuff on these, but it might not be a major amount of content. Oh yeah, that muffler on top, that's off the wire. That's the muffler that fell off. But we can fire this other one up at some point. Might do a video on that, just a short one. I want to hear that one run, but I don't think I'm going to bother today. Got other stuff to do. I've got to actually go back. The Super Major engine is back downtown. Well, actually no, I'll rephrase that. It's in the tray of the ute, which is up here, but it's coming out of the ute when I get back downtown, and we're going to pull it a bit. So I don't really want to waste all day up here faffing around with these. There's probably more people out here waiting for an update on that, what's going on with that. So yeah, I'll probably get back downtown and start slicing and dicing into that. See if we can't drift those pistons out and the liners, and we'll have to cut the liners off the pistons, which is fun. That's right. No, that's alright. I've got the grinder at home. This is the problem with being split across two properties. You go to do something, you realise, oh, I've left that up at the other house. So then you have to drive over an hour each way to get it. So it gets to the point sometimes where you go, oh, I'm going to do this, and then you realise you don't have something for it, so that's it. You just go do something else. It's not worth it. Same up here, like if you go to do something and you don't have all the bits you need and you need to go to town, well, you might as well just do something you have the bits to do. Because, you know, it's a 2-hour round trip plus whatever shopping you do and other stuff and whatnot. So yeah, that's the two International Accos. There will be some more content on them. Yeah. Oh, while you're here, seeing some of you guys out there probably more truckies than I am, and have done this stuff, what would be your preference? Predominantly it's going to be used to cart tractors. Would you have a tray truck, just a straight flat tray with aluminium ramps, or would you have a beaver tail or banana back or whatever you want to call them set up? Because that's my one option I'm sort of thinking. Either so I can trim the chassis here, cut it on angle, weld it back on, same with the tray, and just put a slight beaver on the back of it. That was my original plan, but that's, yeah, it's doable. It's not a lot of work, but it does also create a bit more cost and a bit more complexity. Or I go a little short. The idea was I was thinking about overhanging the tray a bit more, like just about half a metre, to give me enough, like, well, not enough, but more tray length. So I could beaver that just last little back bit, the little half metre bit. It's all food for thought. I don't know if it's going to be worth the effort, or just have a straight flat tray, 6 metres long, two nice, say 4 metre long aluminium ramps, just drive the tractors on. Because when you look at the back of this thing, like, it's not that high off the ground, like it's not super duper high. Still is a bit, so, but if you put a half metre beaver tail on the back of that thing, it's gonna, I suppose it'll probably halve the height. So then your ramps are going to be shorter. Oh, excuse me. So yeah, I'm just food for thought. That's the one thing I'm thinking about at the moment. Because the tray has to be lengthened quite a bit, so I can fiddle with it as much as I sort of want. So this was the original wheel location when it was on the other truck. So if I put it back in the same spot, the tray, I think it just sneaks over the back, like just a little bit. So it's perfect. Or I can adjust the cross members in the tray to bring the wheel from there up into this one. Just fiddle around with this cross member, which is easy, I can do all that. And then you have about 500mm of overhang off the back of the chassis, which this tray won't care because it's got massive rails in it. If you look up at them, they're 5mm thick, 100 and something mil deep. You can swing whatever you want off them, they're not going to bend. So yeah, that's my sort of thoughts at the moment with this thing. So yeah, comment. So if you have a beaver tail truck that you cart little tractors and whatever machinery on, and you've used a standard full flat tray, yeah, leave a comment. I want to know what is your thoughts. Would you go with or without a beaver? So I'm on the fence at the moment. I really want to just sort of get it going. So without it, it makes it a lot easier, saves me a lot of hassle. But I've never ever driven a tractor off the ground straight up onto a flat tray truck with just ramps. So I don't know. Alright, but I better get out of here. You guys have fun, and I'll talk to you in the next one.